What's going on, wave makers and the wave makers community and the guest that we have and his community? My name is Mike Batanti, and I am so excited for tonight's podcast interview with the one, the only Mr. Darren Fryer. Before we get started, I just want to tell you how excited I actually am. I have watched this kid for almost a decade master the art of making money online, and it's bigger than that, right? He is a momentum catalyst. He is somebody who people follow, and he really takes care of his people, right? He's not somebody who's like, yo, let's do this, and nobody eats but him. And then he's like, yo, let's do this, and nobody eats but him. He's somebody who really creates solutions for his people to make money online and to do things differently. And we've really connected over the past 12 months over sustainability. He's a professional skimboarder. His heart and soul is in the ocean and what's happening to the coral reefs and what's happening with plastic and oil spills and all of these different things. He is extremely successful entrepreneur turned extremely motivated philanthropist. And I couldn't be more excited to pick his brain. So with that being said, Mr. Darren Fryer, I'm super excited to have you. Darren, if you're with us, bud, why don't you take 3 to 5 minutes and introduce yourself to this community and share a little bit about your story and the things that you're working on.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Can you hear me all good?
You're
right
good,
on, right on. Thank you for having me on, and shout out to everyone for being on here, especially live. My name's Darren Fryer. As Mike said, I just turned 28 during the quarantine in April. A very interesting birthday, very interesting way to reflect. Long story short, I'm born and raised out here in Maui, Hawaii. I graduated high school in 2010, and out here in Hawaii, the economy is very unique. You have to work a lot of jobs if you're not an entrepreneur or a realtor, to get by with the cost of living. So growing up, I always wanted to prevent myself from being struggling out here. So while I went to college, I was studying business. Very quickly learned formal education does not lead to independence and freedom. And that's where I fell in love with network marketing in about 2012. Probably before me and Nick and me and Mike have all connected and our paths crossed, I was a part of a company called Vima. I was actually a broke college student in Northern California. All my friends were partying and getting into trouble, and I quarantined myself. I locked myself in my dorm, and I just studied Les Brown, Jim Rohn, personal development, and I just went through the grind. I didn't even have a sign up, for my first couple months in that company. I went through the struggles in 2012, but I stayed consistent. I stayed focused. I progressed throughout the process, and I went with the flow. And from there, it's led me to a Nagic. It's led me to making almost $2 million online the last 8 years. And I'm not saying those numbers to impress you guys, but to impress upon you. It's like I have been focusing on the legacy the entire time. The way the world works, it's legacy over currency. You provide value and value and energy, and everything will flow back to you. And that's the only way I could ever explain what's happened was, I've always wanted to provide value for people, whether it started with health, then into service-based companies where I think me and Mike and a lot of people's paths crossed. A company called Wake Up Now. That was where, I really excelled at, got my name out there. Unfortunately, the company didn't last, and we found a Nagic 5 years ago. And I've been doing it full time, but it's just something that, you're helping a select demographic of the world. And it really made me realize who doesn't get help, who doesn't get love, who doesn't get support, especially people who deserve it most. And that's what led me to conservation. The thing that I realized I love most about selling coin machines was just seeing people not use reusable single-use plastic. And I realized that was more fulfilling than the commissions, than the currency, even then, nothing against my teammates, but people who lost 100 pounds that they shouldn't have had on them in the first place. But, that all feels amazing, and watching my teammates make money and become six-figure earners. But the best feeling is just knowing what I'm doing for the earth, for the planet. And that's what led me to, starting my ocean conservation company, or at least setting in motion things to properly start it about a year ago, when me and Mike, we're really first just chatting a lot about, I was catching up, and I was always inspired by wave makers. And it really gave me the idea of how I could just blow up network marketing and direct sales and find a passion for it again. by tying it to funding my conservation, to funding my legacy. But, you know, I had so many people following me, I realized it had to be bigger than that. It had to be something where I created founders legacy, where I could also help and coach and mentor people how they can create their own legacy, their own foundation, their own mission. And I'll go more into it later in this call, but, you know, that's my intro in a nutshell. It's hard to summarize.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. And that's the beautiful thing that I love about people who are doing huge things is like, you want me to elevator pitch the fact that I'm trying to solve the world's water problems and clean up the entire ocean and inspire millions of people to make money differently, as well as taking care of my family and pursuing all the personal goals that I have. It's tough. It's a tough elevator pitch. But for me, running into people who can't fit it into 3 to 5 minutes, I'm like, yo, you're a hustler. And I love that about you. That means that you are doing a bunch to try to elevate the game. So Darren, welcome to the hot seat. But we do this every Friday, and we got a way about it where I ask 3 questions, Nick asks 3 questions. If you're one of Darren's people and you're new to this community, we run Motivation Monday calls. We run Freedom Fridays where we interview, and then we run an unbelievable Bible study on Sunday nights if you are looking for a Christian community to join. And we're all about, you know, a community of people that are making positive waves of change in their lives, in the lives of others, for the planet, right? That's what we're about. And these are my favorite calls because we get to dig into the minds of other people's. And we've had teachers, and we've had personal trainers, and we've had, you know, it's really the concepts of success are not limited to one niche industry, right? And this is our opportunity to really diversify where we're getting our information from. So Darren, me and Nick are yin and yang, right? Complete opposites. And so our questions usually reflect that. So welcome to the hot seat, bud. I'm going to lead off. I am a huge believer in influences, right? Musical influences, artistic influences, influences in business, right? People who you look at and you're inspired, and they teach you just by watching, just by observing them live the way that they live. Who are 3 of your top influencers that have shaped you and really brought you to a place of maybe understanding the world differently, maybe understanding yourself differently, maybe understanding business principles differently? Who would be 3 names that have instantly come to mind for you, and why?
Okay. Yeah, no, that's awesome. The 3 names came to mind right away. It's definitely something that this is an authentic 3 names. The first one is my man, Peter Voogd, you know, who I've been able to collaborate and work with personally. We have 50 inter-student mentorship students over the next 6 months. And Peter Voogd is someone I've been following since Wake Up Now in 2014. You know, I always vibed with him because he was more millennial motivator, and I could resonate with him. He was more relevant. And then from there, it was just the fact that he made motivational mixtapes that whenever I would change my music from listening to normal rap or 2 Chainz or whoever I shouldn't be listening to Peter Voogd, it would instantly change my mindset, change the way I felt, which would change my habits and would just get me back on track during some of the hardest times. I veg out to his stuff and reprogram my mind for success. So Peter has done an amazing part, and he's all about being humble, being a game changer. He's from a small town, like I'm from a small island, so I've always looked up to him most because he values freedom. He values his family and legacy over currency, more so than a lot of influencers. And aside from that, I'd have to give a huge shout out to Tony Robbins. You know, he's transformed me a lot indirectly. I've never had the pleasure of personally working with him yet, but you know, I've been around a lot of people in his network. A lot of his health teachings is the reason why I got into an addict. Was I was studying him, got addicted to juicing, started getting into breath work and ice baths. And naturally, I learned that he drank hanging water, and so did NASA astronauts. And that was the foundation, was, you know, cleansing and detoxifying and refueling my brain to be able to do the business that I knew I had to do in the future, and to, you know, prepare myself and to become who I know I had to be in 10 to 50 years from now to meet my goals and to be able to match that level. So being able to learn from someone like Tony Robbins, Peter Voogd, and last but not least, it would have to be Les Brown. You know, he was the first person, you know, his story about helping his mother was the first thing that resonated with me. I got to actually shake his hands and meet him. I have a profile picture with him on my Facebook. I'm at GoPro Eric Worre 2014. Me and Terrell Wallace and Eric Talento ran into him in the office, and he actually invited us into a room and took pictures with us individually and a group photo. And yeah, we were blown away. That event was crazy. And I mean, that message that time couldn't have been more relevant and necessary for me on my journey. So Les Brown, Peter Voogd, and Tony Robbins, hands down.
That's amazing. I'm going to take the mic right now. Darren, first of all, man, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to see you again. And, you know, everything that you were saying, man, I've been watching you as well over the years. And you're like the guy that Earl Nightingale says, everything he touches turns to gold. So congratulations on all your success so far, and excited to see everywhere that you're going to continue to grow. And I love these people that you mentioned. Actually, Tony Robbins, I've also had a lot of the growths that I needed for my life that came from him, so I can relate there. And you said something that really stuck out to me. So as you were mentioning about Peter Voogd, you mentioned that he was able to help you reprogram your mind, right? And I think that that's something that every single one of us have in common. We want to continue to elevate and improve who we are. So my question to you is this. Can you talk a little bit about the difference between lack and abundance mindset, right? Maybe some areas that you've seen in your life or in other people's lives that you notice, and what are the big differentiators between people that are living in abundance and people that are living in lack?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's perfect you would ask that. I don't know what proverb it's from, and I remember learning this back in the day. A lazy man has no game to roast, but a diligent man sees precious wealth in the land. Its perception is reality. It's really learning how to adjust your paradigm. Couple honorable mentions has got to be Bob Proctor and Eric Thomas. You know, they also have helped me a lot. Bob Proctor kind of opened the doors, you know, The Secret to Kevin Trudeau and to lots of other manifestation and techniques. But it comes down to your paradigm, your perception. You know, I live in a world where I'm on this island and I see infinite abundance all around me, and there is. Because of that, and everyone else, they're focused on lack. And that was even a mistake I got into, guys. We are perfect manifestors of our reality. So you have to own responsibility and know that the reason your reality is the way it is because you've been thinking the way you've been thinking, which has created actions and habits and routines that are different. You know, people are like, how do you go to the gym twice a day? I'm like, I wish I could go 5 times a day. I don't know. When you have high standards, and this is something I learned from Peter Voogd, when you have high pressure for yourself, the pressure from the world and the pressure from other people are impenetrable. You know, it's called becoming a diamond, guys. And it's just adjusting your mindset to react to every situation consciously, you know, looking at how you can be as efficiently as possible, working smarter, not harder, adjusting. You know, I'm thankful I've surfed a lot. I know how to, you know, catch the right wave, so to say. And that's a big part of, you know, what I feel like a lot of people need to do is just learn how to think properly. You know, the reason why your life is the way it is you think more about how you don't have what you want, which makes you feel bad, which makes you procrastinate, which makes you not take action, which makes you overthink your way to failure, which is the #1 defeater of success. So guys, it's about being able to line up those thoughts properly with the feelings and you know, a couple more complex things, but hope that answers the question.
Wow. I love that. It's so crazy, the shift, right? I hear my brothers, Eric and Nick, talk about it all the time. The Tony Robbins, like 2 millimeters. It's just a little tiny wrench, just 2 millimeters at a time, and you're shifting. One thing for me personally, this concept of money, right? I have always lived my life of like, oh, I got to keep it. And when I get it, I got to keep it, right? But I'm building dams blocking the flow of abundance and money. And just recently, look, I'm telling you guys, and it's not because of any other reason than I have made this shift. I'm upgrading to first class these days. I'm giving to people who ask me for help, right? With restrictions. I'm spending more. I'm over tipping on the servers, even pickup. Even when I'm picking up the food, like I'm tipping on that bill because I'm no longer in this mindset of like, I need to save. I need to be super conservative. Like, no, their money is everywhere. And I need to open up my mind to the fact that I need to not trap it. I need to let it freely flow in and out of my life, right? So that I can expand the amount of wealth that I can eventually attain. It's a real thing, guys. And you don't realize it until you realize it. So I love it, man. You're dropping heat already. Yo, drop some 2s in the chat if you're already getting value from this call. I love where we're at. Usually it takes us a little bit to catch fire, but we caught fire immediately.
You know, the reason why I'm so stoked to jump on calls and try to share this and simplify it to help everyone, hopefully, who's learning it, apply it, is that it's like I've been doing it for so long. It's all I could do. I just see abundance everywhere. I see opportunities. I see solutions, you know, and I'm focused on what I can control, not what I can't control at all times. You know, people are like, oh, everything is messing up. It's like, and then that's it. I'm like, oh, everything is messing up. We have to do something about it. You know, it's like, that's really the only difference that separates my 24 hours from other people's 24 hours, especially with what's happening in the world. People message me and it's just pure excuses, and they're messaging me questions of lack. And it's just like, the reason why you have no results is the reason why you're just so focused and obsessed about these questions that you've been trying to ask me for. When you know, the biggest thing my mentor taught me, and I'll go into the next question you guys want to ask me, it's not about knowing what to do. It's about doing what you know. Some of the most powerful, profound wisdom in the world has been simplified by the ancients, by the master teachers, by Buddha, by all these different people who've been preaching messages and simplifying it in such an amazing way that you guys already know what to do. It's about love. It's about giving back. It's about, you know, giving without receiving, and being able to unlock doors of infinite abundance for yourself, you know. But that's the biggest thing, is too many people are selfish and they see lack because of that. They're only looking, you know, within like their own individual tunnel vision, instead of, you know, focusing on the fantasy instead of accepting and dealing with your reality is the number one guaranteed way that you're going to be unhappy for the rest of your life. So I'll just leave it at that.
I love it, man. I love it. Let's shift, bro. Let's pivot, as me and Nick like to say these days. I want to talk to you about what's on your heart, right? What are some of the problems that you're seeing with the ocean? And what are some of the things that the 34 people on this call can start doing in their own lives to start as a unit making a difference and doing some different things that create a more sustainable mindset? Like, what are those things that you see in that regard to ocean conservation, some of the projects that you want to work on moving forward?
I'd say the biggest thing is just being the example and voting with your dollar and voting with your lifestyle. You know, I see so many conversations, especially with the politics, and I don't want to get into politics on this call, but people are discussing all these things when it's just like, they're not going to solve our problems. We solve it. You know, we help make a better neighborhood, creates a better state, creates a better country, but it starts with us being the best version of ourselves, voting with our dollars, and not being a hypocrite. You know, if you're going to support a movement, you know, I support things however I can. It's like when I saw ocean conservation, I eliminated all single-use plastic out of my home. I just have stainless steel straws, stainless steel cups, stainless steel bottles and hydro flasks. And I'd say that's the biggest thing, is like, I'm out here getting the funding to have to clean up all the waste. But the problem isn't that. The problem is people being conscious of their decisions and preventing that waste from being created and preventing that waste from getting into the ocean. Otherwise, I mean, I have endless plastic to turn into biofuel, which is unlimited money, but it's like, it'd be nice to have that solved, to focus on other issues in the world. There are some crazy ones. You have to protect the children, the youth. The trafficking situation is also something I'm very passionate about. And I know the ocean is something that can heal people in an amazing way. It's going to help everyone win. So it's like, for me, I have a lot of causes dear to my heart, but the ocean is the most important one. You know, I learned from my mentors who are ocean conservationists, millionaires and professional surfers out here in Maui, you know, is that a clean beach and a dirty beach and a dirty home is a reflection of a dirty mind and dirty spirit and a dirty inner world, you know. So that's kind of where it's like, if you're obsessed with cleanliness, this is a quote my mentor taught me: cleanliness is close to godliness. You know, a clean inner world, clean house, clean beach, clean ocean, clean nature means you have a clean mental, spiritual world, guys. And that's something that I've applied. So going out there and just not spending too much time knowing what to do, but just doing what you already know you need to be doing, you know, eating more plant-based, going plastic free, being more conscious about the waste and what you're purchasing and where it's coming from. You know, I became so conscious that even all my protein tubs, I got a company that just sends me, you know, biodegradable bags that I could fill my tubs up, because I felt so bad to even just have these giant protein tubs that I run through, you know, all that plastic. I had to just find a company that specifically would make biodegradable bags that they could send me to just refill my one plastic tub that they send me. So it's like, I do everything I can. And that's why I'm aligned. That's why I'm confident. That's why I have the conviction. It's like, you know, there's just something different when you're aligned with the words that you say, with what you're doing, guys, and how you want to be. Just doing as much as you can to help now is just the start. Just doing the first step, and then of course helping other people too is the best feeling.
Wow.
So I hope I answered that right.
That is powerful. That was amazing. Truly. I love the correlation between our internal world, right? And our internal cleanliness in our own minds is a reflection of what happens out there, what we do out there. I love that. And I think, you know, this is what a great time for all of us after this call. Walk around your house and take a look at what's going on from a different perspective, right? What are some things that we need to get rid of, that we need to change? And I love the practicality of it also. That's great, truly. So I'm gonna shift back a little bit.
Go clean your rooms. Go clean your rooms. No.
I love it. So here's my question to you, man. What are some of the, you know, you've been in the entrepreneurial game for a while, and you've also now been in a nonprofit space as well and doing some awesome things. What are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned, maybe from mistakes that you've made or mistakes that people close to you made, that if you were to go back and do it again, obviously everything happened exactly the way it was supposed to and you don't regret it, but at the same time, if you had to do it again, what would you have done maybe a little bit differently, right? What are some things that took you a little bit too long to learn that you would do it much quicker if you were to do it all over again?
I'd say when I was younger, you know, trying to find people who had authentic happiness rather than the perceived happiness that we see on social media. You know, I fell, you know, for the trap of following false idols. You know, I was following social media influencers who were posting with fake cars and fake lifestyles and rented watches. And, you know, that really threw me off track. I'm from an island. I never saw an exotic car or nice watch until I went to college, and even until I graduated and was a part of Wake Up Now or Vimo, when everyone was buying Breitlinks for each other and, you know, getting BMWs. That was like when I was first introduced to it. So I kind of got sucked into that whole world because I was being too much a product of that environment and wasn't staying quite as true to myself. I mean, I'm glad I did it. It was a lesson learned, but if I could have gone back in time, I would have, you know, also held on to staying more true to myself throughout that process, because I kind of got swept away, you know, by the hype and the glory and the shiny object syndrome of, you know, having like $250,000 that year. And, you know, we fed a lot of homeless people and we did a lot of cool stuff for the community, but I didn't invest into anything long-term that I would be able to provide. And I feel like by making all that money and spending it in selfish, materialistic ways, it caused me to go through a struggle. It caused me to go through hard times where honestly, like, I mean, I've been doing it in magic, but I have not been making millions until I'd say just recently. A lot of it's manifested. I mean, my bamboo tree, I've been nurturing and watering and taking care of that seed so well, you know, out here in the Hawaiian sun and ocean. And that's why now it's been flourishing. So, yeah.
That's amazing. Darren, you just said it. Why don't you tell that story? Can you tell us about the bamboo tree, please?
Okay, yeah, I kind of got the numbers, you know, memorized from earlier. This is a story that's just so powerful to me. I honestly was just like about to get bamboo tatted all over my leg, because it's just so relevant to my life and to a lot of people in good and bad ways, guys. You'll see with this story how perception is reality, and you reap what you sow, and you can't cheat the universe. You can't cheat yourself. And the bamboo story is this, that there's a Chinese bamboo tree, and it's just, bamboo grows super fast. But the thing about the Chinese bamboo tree is you have to put it in the soil and nurture it and water it for like 4 or 5 years. And if you mess up at any point, the seed will die and it won't grow. So within that 5 years, it doesn't break the soil. But after 4 or 5 years, it breaks the soil and in 4 to 5 weeks grows 90 feet tall. So the question in that story to ask yourself is, did that bamboo grow 90 feet in 5 weeks or in 5 years and 5 weeks? You know, it was growing the foundation. I see so many people do this. And for me, that's, you know, going back on that last question, if I could go back in time, I wish I spent more time focusing on my foundation, you know, of who I am, of what I want to become. I didn't prepare myself enough for the money that ended up coming into my life. With the internet, you know, if you do something authentically, money can come in at an insane amount. You guys already know this. Look at people on YouTube and kids and random people who come up on insane amounts of money. And you guys got to realize that you can do it too. And you can do it consciously, you know, with an idea and a plan so you could be prepared, because people call me lucky, and they're going to be calling me lucky until the day that I'm gone, because I'm prepared for opportunities, because I'm always preparing, you know. And the moral of the bamboo story is most people right now in these times, to relate it to the pandemic and why we see some people doing so well and some people not doing so well, is because some people have been cheating the last 5 years. They have been cheating on their seed. Whether they want to say it and accept it publicly or not, they know they have not been nurturing that seed as much as they should have. They've been partying too much. I mean, no one's perfect, but you just have to try to be as progressive as you can every single day, 1% better, or else you're degressing 1% a day. And at that point, we're seeing people, the bamboo is flourishing, and some people are going 90 feet tall in 5 weeks, and some people are barely making it 9 feet tall. And some people aren't even breaking the surface. And you can see that on social media. You can see that within your network and your audience, of some people making more money than they've ever made in their life, and most people making the least money they've ever made in their lives, aside from like unemployment and all the stimuluses and things. So, yeah.
Wow. I would just like to say this publicly. You, Darren Fryer, are a phenomenal public speaker. A phenomenal speaker. You speak with passion and fire. And I'm super excited to share stages with you all around the world, talking about how we can come together and save the planet. But we'll save that for another day. Here at Wave Makers, man, we like to be raw. I've been watching you, man. You're one of the most authentic people that I've seen on the internet. You tell it like it is. And I can imagine that everyone on this call has felt that vibe as well. So I'm going to close out with a very interesting question. And I would like for you, if you're cool with it, man, just get raw, right? Darren, I think that everyone's hearing you, and you know, you're close enough to relate, but you're far enough away to inspire in your success. And some people are on this call being like, man, like this guy is wildly successful, right? But we're, you know, even the wildly successful are still human by nature. So Darren, what's your biggest fear? What is like the one thing that you kind of really get hung up on, and like that thing that by the end of your road, if it's not done or whatever it may be, you know, when you look at that question, what is your shoot from the hip response?
This is crazy, because I was resonating a lot myself in my own life thinking about this question. I believe everyone is right now, you know. It's like seeing what's in the world, and the way to be fearless is to find something you fear more. I mean, lately I was like, wow, the only thing I really fear is maybe like surfing 100-foot wave in the ocean. But, you know, with kind of the way the world is and how clear I've gotten on my purpose, like my biggest fear is almost to not know what I'm afraid of, you know, because your fear is like your purpose. What you're afraid of is what you're supposed to be drawn to. You're supposed to be in that uncomfortable zone, constantly progressing through fear from fear, you know. I mean, that's kind of how it is in surfing. You surf a 5-foot wave, 10-foot wave, 50-foot wave, and people are out there surfing 100-foot waves when there are people who won't even jump in a swimming pool, you know? So it's like fear is all something for me. It drives me. And without fear, it's like I don't have purpose and I don't have meaning. So it's a very weird answer. I'm sure most people have never heard, but my fear is having no fears. You know, not knowing what I'm afraid of. And it's almost like not knowing what to prepare for, you know, because if you prepare for fear, it's not hard. Like surfers surf 50-foot waves all the time, and it's because they prepare for it. They train for it, you know. I'm going to surf waves that kill people, but it's like, you know, I'm meditating inside of the barrel. I mean, it's the eye of the storm. It's peaceful. It's a low impact zone, but you just have to prepare yourself for that. So that's what I would say drives me.
Powerful. Very, very Mr. Miyagi-esque right there. And I love it.
That's good, man. That is really good. I have never heard of that before. What you're afraid of brings you closer to your purpose. That's really good. That is truly powerful, man. That's I'm actually going to spend a little bit more time thinking of what it is that I'm afraid of. I think it's so easy to overlook that, you know, and just focus on the great things, but still take time to look at what keeps us. A little bit of fear can be good, you know, at the end of the day. So that's good. That's really good. So here's my last question, because I know that by the end of this call, everyone here, by the way, drop a 33 in the chat if you've already taken some value from this call. And I know that everyone is excited, everyone is motivated, and usually happens anytime that we're around people that are inspiring. But I want to go a little bit deeper, right? Because I think that inspiration and motivation can die so quickly. I know it happened in my life so many times. So what are some of the self-limiting beliefs that you, Darren, had to face, and I guess it goes hand in hand with a little bit of the fearful factor, right? What are some of the limiting beliefs that you had to face and completely overcome for you to step into your true self right now in your life? And the reason that I'm asking this question is because we can be motivated and driven and passionate and have goals in life, but if we are not overcoming the self-limiting beliefs, we're always going to have a ceiling keeping us from going to the next level. So what are some of the self-limiting beliefs that you have had to overcome and maybe are still overcoming in your life?
Yeah, this is an amazing question. And this is probably the biggest one I see people have. And I love trying to help shatter this paradigm because it took me a while to get over it myself. Most people don't feel like they deserve to be wealthy, and that's what I'm learning. I meet a lot of spiritual people out here in Hawaii who are like too disconnected and too spiritual to where it's just like they're always just giving me limitations and justifying why they don't deserve to have the money Mark Zuckerberg and all these other people do. And I'm like, well, if you don't truly believe that you would do good things with it, then that's why you don't feel good and your actions aren't lining up in your habits and your routines, and you don't feel drawn towards it. It's something that you have to be afraid of. At least at first, when you're in the industry, you start with, wow, $1,000 a month. Like when I was in college, that terrified me. I had no money. I was like, the idea of making $1,000 a month without having to show up and flip pizzas or something or work at a cafeteria, I was like, that was scary for me. But I got into it. It happened. And then I was like, oh, 10,000 a month. Oh, 100,000 a month. For me, the limitation I just broke through, the last 6 months was accepting that, I deserve $100,000 a month in Tradera. And that's why in that company that I've joined 4 months ago, I'm almost at a 7-figure income in MLM because I came in and really believed that I deserved it because I was so consistent and aligned with Protect beforehand because I had a whole year, but I ran out of money. I ran out of investors that all flaked and proved, with their actions to be misaligned with the vision that I saw. And I realized that if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. And, time is definitely the most valuable currency. And for me, it's just like knowing that I'm not wasting my time. I'm staying focused on the end goal, but being as productive throughout the process. As Peter Voogd says that I learned from, it's not about the hours you put in the work, but the work you put in each hour. Okay. I mean, he's best friends with Tim Ferriss, 4-hour work week, 4-hour body, working smarter, not harder. I mean, I'm just thankful I was raised in the 90s. So I was able to always stay adapting with technology. That's also another limitation is people think, oh, technology is so hard, or I can't build a brand on social media. And like I said, it just comes down to, you got to believe you deserve that brand. You got to believe you deserve you're being heard, and you're doing people a disservice by not showing your brand and spreading your message. And until then, and that's an internal thing, you guys have to go inward to find out. You have to silence your mind for an hour and really feel what thoughts keep creeping into your mind that you can't push away. And you have to silence the mind and go inward and go from there, start from within and, reverse engineer your life, guys. It's all out there. It's already been done by so many other people. For me, it's like I have a competitive mindset thanks to soccer and golf. It's like I see other people doing it. I'm like, cool. I've always learned that if someone else has done it, it can be done better and more efficiently. And that's just one example of how I came into network marketing and none of my friends did. They were like, look at all those people doing it. I can't be like them. I was like, look at all those people doing it. I'm going to study them. I'm going to learn from them, and I'm going to be better than them, and nothing against them, but that's just my mindset. My parents raised me with, thanks to sports and discipline with that. So, I've applied that into business and it's helped me a lot. I train and prepare, and you win games and you win tournaments. You train and you prepare and you win incomes and contests and businesses and sales competitions. It's all the same thing.
That's powerful, man. That is so powerful. And I love that. I just see so many correlations with the journey that you're on individually and the journey that me and Nick have been on. And the reality that I've come to terms with is God needed to refine me to be ready for the massive amounts of wealth, right? Protect needed time and attention to be formatted before the big boy money came behind it. And Darren Fryer needed the time to continue to flush out the toxicity and flush out, the residual remnants of taking money and using it for wrong things before God came in and said, now you are ready. take this and go do great things. So I couldn't be more excited to collaborate with you moving forward. Wave Makers and Protect are going to do some great things globally. You know,
Show them how it's done.
if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. And we're super excited to go change the world with you, man. I know I speak for both Nick and I. So look, we got a bunch of people on the call who are loving you. I'm going to give them a little bit of time, but before we stop the recording, the hundreds of thousands of people that are going to see this going into the future, right? And the recording that it will last forever. Send them off, bro. 30 seconds, 45 seconds to light a fire up under their ass, to get them hustling, to get them moving, to get them focused. Ready, set, go.
I'll give you guys one of the most powerful stories that is relevant to what we guys are doing. And it's having faith and having trust in God and the universe, but building the trench, building the ocean, and having faith in the timing of when it gets filled. Okay, that's the biggest thing that I've used and I've aligned myself with over the last 5 years that I feel like other people have. Is you see people who have these 6-figure dreams, but that's all they have. So they reach those goals a lot quicker, and you're like, why am I not there? You're comparing yourself to other people. So the biggest piece of advice I want to end you guys on is don't compare yourself to anyone, guys. Your only competition is who you see in the mirror every single day, and remember that. And as long as you focus on that, you guys will go out there, dig the ocean, and have faith and prepare yourself for that ocean to be filled. And don't be distracted by other people's swimming pools, other people's lakes, and maybe other people's tiny little plastic cups, because that's their ambition, that's their dreams, that they're potentializing. So don't compare yourself to them, guys. The biggest thing I learned from Tony Robbins is you raise your standards and you let the universe match its frequency. So that's what it comes down to. I spent the whole year, 2 years, probably longer, just like Mike and them, raising our standards, building billion-dollar values. And people are going to ask us how billions of dollars of wealth manifested to us. And it's like, the people who make so much money, it's the last thing that they focus on, guys. Like, there's a reason why they have so much money, they don't care about it or can't count it. It's because everything is energy, guys. Remove the self-limitations in your life and understand that abundance comes in all forms, but you have to believe you deserve it, and you will pay it forward and give that abundance back without expecting anything in return, and more can continue to flow into your life, guys. So I'm going to leave you guys on that. Just remember that story.
I love it. What a blessing. What a blessing that it was to have you on the call. This is our time as wave makers to, we end the recording. If you're watching this recording, join our Telegram, join our community, be a part of what we're doing, but we really like to offer the people who are here live with us a little one-on-one time to pick Darren Fryer's brain. So with that being said, we love you guys. Those watching the recording, keep tuning in, hit the subscribe button, and we will see you guys on Mindset Monday. You guys take care and have a good day.